Mysteries of Orpheus and Eleusis. Theological Fragments. Quoting Museus, the father of Eumolpus, who famously founded the Eleusinian Mysteries between 1397 before Common Era and 1373 before Common Era. Everything comes from one source and is resolved in one. Let us capture one method in the interpretation of mysteries as an example, and let us try to find a common tone and syntax. Following the Parmenidean theory of the arche, everything in the world has a common universal denominator, a great foundation from which everything else derives. In Orphic beliefs, time as a powerful existed a priori, and the world was born from a cosmic egg generated by Aether and Kronos. In other narratives, by the mingling of two titans, and yet others by Erebus with the winged knight in Tartarus. The one who hatched from that egg was called Protogonos Phaeton, the son of the giant Aether. Protogonos is understood here as the generator of the cosmos and all places from the beginning of the world. When he was born, Aether separated from the vast abyss. Kronos, meaning striking mind, and Uranos are divine minds that strike at the primordial matter, Eonta, creating the first beings. Kronos is a generational sequence. Uranos is a stage of the universe in which the mind defines the nature of the elements. Thus, Dios Nous is implanted throughout the world through diaresis or division. Another name derived from these gods alongside Protogonos is Phanes. He was the first god to generate the entirety of the cosmos and then began to orbit it. The view was supported by Plutarchus regarding the Orphic rhapsodies. Aether in Euripides' Helen is invoked by the priestess Theonoe during a procession with women carrying torches. Let the fires purify the Aether according to the sacred law, so that we may receive the pure breath of heavens. Heraclides of Pontus, following the Pythagoreans, claimed that every star in the world has its own world, that each star is a separate world. How to read the luminaries in the sky with a wise and a steady gaze. These are sacred words spoken in the knowledge of secrets, giving meaning to the human voice, a song transposed to the high blessed islands, remaining in the sacred hymn accompanied by the lyre. Similar to the breath of the Osirian stars, which tuned the entire world, and while tuning each other, they performed extraordinary music. Or the Hieros Logos written down. Not much is known about such legomena, that is, texts read during rituals, except the legends that Orpheus wrote a tablet that was to be located in the oracle of Dionysus on Mount Pangaeon, while others said it could be found near Mount Haemus. Thus, human fate intertwined with Heimarmene, the highest destiny. There was an image found that reflected the Hermetic mysteries. Who was Orpheus? Legends say he was the son of the Thracian king and the muse Calliope, a student of the Idaean Dactyls, a hypophetess, and a teacher of Dionysian initiations. Orphism, as a soteriological mystery aimed at liberating the soul in the great ascension, was primarily expressed through words. Socrates mentioned that, similar to the Dionysian traditions, the Orphics treated the body as the sarcophagus of the soul, and he also noted that many bear the thyrsus, or laurel wreaths, but few are true mystics, the latter being the true philosophers. Aristotle claimed that the Orphics believed that the soul was born from the wind, perhaps from the breath of the cosmic soul, drawn from the world and engraved in the animal world. The sacred goal was the transmutation of the soul to make it perfect, beautifully attuned to the divine worlds. The Macedonian tribes believed that their souls first dwelt in animals before settling in human beings. Here, beliefs led to the conviction that the rectification of an animal, then human, to semi-divine souls is a natural initiatory sequence, provided it is not interrupted and obscured by ignorance and forces hostile to this golden chain of initiations. Thus, there appear two lines of time. the first marking the beginning and end of the soul's entry into the cosmos, and the second linear, marking the development of beings within it in all their diversity across the universe. Legend has it that Orpheus, as a priest and bard of Dionysus, changed his modus operandi of worship, raising his hands towards Apollo, who does not manifest multiplicity, on Mount Pangaean, thus abandoning his master. Out of revenge, if one believes in the passions of the gods, Dionysus sent woman, Bassarai, who, jealous, shouting, "Look, this is the poet who despised us," tore his body to shreds. Then, committing this vile act, they tied his body to a lyre made from a tortoise shell, which was thrown into the Thracian river Hebros, and when it reached the sea and came to the island of Lesbos, it was found by its inhabitants. There, with all honors, the head of Orpheus was buried, and a temple was built at that site. Plutarchus, who was a priest at Delphi, as well as an archivist, librarian, and compiler of sacred books, claimed that Apollo and Dionysus were the same gods, so the revenge of the gods is unlikely. The revenge of woman, somewhat more convincing. Where his body, the holy master fell, and the blood soaked into the ground, a sacred Bacchic herb was said to grow, Kitara, named after the sound it made when burning sacrificial offerings, which was said to resemble the sound of a lyre. The Muses then gathered his parts and buried them at a place called Liber Troi, according to Eratosthenes in Leibethra. It was reported that the bionic statue of Orpheus, standing posthumously in that city, sweated profusely during Alexander the Macedon expedition to conquer Persia. Most women in Macedonia were involved in Orphic and Dionysian rites from ancient times, known as Clodones and Mimalones respectively, which are Macedonian names for Bacchantes. Not everyone was convinced of the sanctity of the mysteries. The Agoras in the 5th century before Common Era not only betrayed fragments of Orphic and Cabiric hieroslogoi, but also destroyed a wooden statue of Hercules, declaring to all that there is no god or gods. In the eyes of the Orphics, such a traitor was tortured in Hades, and nothing is known of the Agoras' further fate. The Orphic mysteries were esteemed on par with the Eleusinian and Cabiric mysteries, ensuring their popularity in Athens and throughout Hellenic world. Who knew the truth, you ask? Were there not plenty of priests and prophets, charlatans and self-proclaimed masters, who stole the hearts of the naive and fools, upon whose souls they could feed? They ridiculed the true mysteries in Telestia by their presence. So great was the foolishness of one of them that, unable to bear his poverty and suffering, he prophesied about a future world that would be better, more perfect, just for him. And yet he lived and spread scandal with his ignorance of an unsufferable idiot. One of the warriors was said to have beheaded him with a sword, for he could no longer endure his contempt for life and his sufferers' complaints. However, each of them lived in the hope of possessing reason and truth, so much so that they mistook their beliefs for the realization of truth and began to sell people half-truths and lies, which became their favorite sport as long as they could profit from this fraud. Who then were the true priesthoods, masters and mistresses? They were those who effectively initiated worthy adepts into the mysteries of the gods, so that the victorious torch could be carried forward, allowing the human soul to be transformed truly and join the procession of the gods. Irony, only a discerning master who has achieved competence in his art can know the differences, but only when he is no longer a fool. The attention of a fool is captured by any idiot who pretends to be an anointed master. The element of doubt and learning, skepticism and faith in realized knowledge and experience, the sacrifice of engagement on the altars of the gods grows in intensity through known theory and effective practice, built like bridges and gates to the Eleusinia. Each mastery in soteriology is individual, requires years of dedication, bloodthirsty work, doubt, downfall, and rising with ever new strength. Similar to a game of chess played while riding a wild horse in a dangerous forest at night, with the divinity of the cosmos in mind and the muses guiding the direction where perseverance is tied to the goal, there one achieves what one is truly capable of. In Laconia, Hermione, contemporary Argoris, Core the Savior, Persephone, and Chthonic Demeter were worshipped, while Hades was called Clymenos, meaning the known one. There Hercules was said to have descended into Hades, and it was believed that near the sacred grove of Demeter Chtonia there was an entrance to the underworld. Indeed, Catabasis, or the descent of the soul into hell, was a key ritual in mysteries, inviting initiates into the worlds of the demigods. Perhaps in the Eleusinian mysteries, among the hierophants, stood none other than Hades, a pop tale. In Aegina, where Hecate was worshipped, it was claimed that Orpheus the Thracian founded this cult among them. Moreover, no one other than Alcamenes first created the likeness of Hecate in the triple form, which soon became the archetype of the goddess. So the sacred place of the Eleusinian mysteries is significant, and Athens owes it not only to the Cretans and Egyptians, but to widespread initiation mystery tradition from Thrace, Crete, and Egypt that blossomed in Greece. The priestesses in Athens were greatly influenced in their Egyptian counterparts, who introduced sacred dances, clothing, and liturgical formulas to the Greeks. The elements of the Eleusinian mysteries grew in the fertile soil of knowledge passed down from mouth to mouth, written and commented on over generations, ultimately creating a sanctuary where Core was born and resurrected. After centuries, it became the most significant center of initiation, the final judgment where the goal was either glory or disgrace. The service was performed by the hierophant, and the priests were the torch-bearers who kept the mysteries of Core and Demeter in mind, opening the initiates' minds to the deepest of their secrets. The sacred song, the tone of the holy voice, was heard from those who had achieved high levels of initiation. The Anactoron, and together with the Mestai, they sang sacred hymns, surrounding themselves with a circle of torches. The initiation dances, choral processions, and sacred movements intertwining into one great spectacle, which turned human fate towards heavens, the families of heavens. This was the path of victory, happiness, harmony, and soteria, liberty, where the highest forces of heaven and the underworld converged, revealing the path of mysteries. Eoi, Eakos.